Hello, everyone. Welcome to Word Funk. I am Leon Thomas. I am joined by Austin Yorsky and Johnny Maloney. Guys, after years, like approximately 2 years of talking about this, Batman v Superman hit theaters just a few days ago, and we can finally talk about it. The thing we have been sort of hyping since the very early days of Word Funk. And by hyping, I mean like making fun of it, making fun of a thing we hadn't seen and couldn't possibly judge. But now, 2/3 of us have seen it. And that being myself and Austin.
I was only laughing at it because deep down, really, I was afraid.
That's okay. No, that's a totally understandable emotional reaction. Johnny hasn't seen it, and he's not gonna. So we're not going to...
I shouldn't say that Johnny's not gonna see it. It's just that Johnny's not gonna see it in a way that encourages Warner Brothers to go ahead with Zack Snyder as the captain of this particular ship. Because here's the thing. As an actual fan of the characters of Superman and Batman, I would love to see them in good movies. No, really, that's the reason. Is that I want to see Superman and Batman in good movies. That's really it.
Right before I bought my tickets, there was a moment of clarity, of lucidity, where I was like, I could just not. Like, Leon, what is he going to do? He can't punish me. He's not going to put me in podcast jail.
I've been poking you guys to see it because it would make for a great episode, but I'm not actually going to be mad at you if you don't see it. Austin, I'm glad that you did see it so we could have a conversation and it's not just me talking. Johnny, no hard feelings at all and completely understandable.
No, rock hard feelings. My feelings about you, Johnny, very, very hard, turgid.
Austin, what you're telling me is that you and I were both standing in a crowd, all right? And we were like, somebody really, really famous was driving by, like the Pillsbury Doughboy or something like that. And at the same
what
time,
the fuck are you talking about? Are you high?
And at the same time, you and I saw a gunman just like show up, and we both had a thought for a split second. We were like, "Oh my God, no one's gonna stop that man." What you did, Austin, was decide to jump in front of the bullet.
Yeah, it's
Joke's on you. Guy would have missed anyways.
It's called bravery, Johnny. Get some.
Hey, you want to take a bullet for the Pillsbury Doughboy that wasn't even going to connect with flesh? That's your business.
I went through with it because I gave my word I would, and I'm good for it. So do we want to start this with like a full spoiler like recap discussion thing?
Here we go. Austin, you're going to play Lex Luthor. Leon, I want you to be Lois Lane.
No. We're basically, I have notes of things I want to discuss, like particular points. Not like a script, but like bullet points. I was fine to see it right away. Austin took his time and like reluctantly did it, and we are going to talk about it now.
I had a nightmare about it.
It's fine.
That's fine. Actually really apropos, considering the dream sequences in the movie. Wow.
Yeah, we're not gonna like go through this like bit by bit. I just have certain things I want to talk about.
Can we give full spoiler warning? Yes.
Yeah. Oh, well, obviously, yes. This is like complete with spoilers. Everything will be spoiled. You can't complain because we said so.
I presume that not everything will be spoiled, insofar as that even knowing what happens, still sitting down and watching the movie will spoil it.
Nothing you just said makes sense.
Through the very act of observing it, you are kind of ruining something.
I mean, the trailers ruined everything. There is not a plot twist in the movie that was not in the trailers.
Well, there were a couple things that surprised me.
Tell me about the piss jar.
Or would have surprised me.
Lex Luthor pissed in a jar, and it was gross.
There's so much to talk about. We really shouldn't be. We should try to do this in some kind of semblance of structure. So, just two things before we begin. The main thrust of this. First, before anyone rushes to the comments to defend Zack Snyder from being the sole reason Batman v Superman is a disaster, we are aware that the screenplay was primarily written by. I may be pretty mispronouncing his name, Chris Terrio. I hope I said that right. And David S. Goyer. However, Snyder is the director and has a lot of sway with Warner Brothers. He is the director of Man of Steel. He is the director of Batman v Superman. He is the director of the upcoming Justice League Part 1 and Justice League Part 2. He is the producer of Wonder Woman and the producer of Aquaman. He is basically in the role Joss Whedon had with Marvel before he decided no, not anymore. So if Snyder didn't want it to be in the movie, he would have vetoed it. Also, screenplay or no screenplay, a lot of what is wrong with this film is not just narrative, although that's certainly part of it, but also stylistic, and therefore the fault of the director. Not to mention the fact, like, the movie has so many of Snyder's trademarks. So slow motion, disgusting immorality, muscle-bound men, like in like poses, just smashing into each other that it would make Robert Mapplethorpe blush. This is
how
like
many Christ allegories do we get confronted with?
Oh,
there's a lot, and we will get into that. But the point is, this is a Zack Snyder film through and through. And any attempt to say, "Oh, this is all David S. Goyer's fault," look, plenty to go around, but he is the captain of the ship.
So judging from your tone, Leon, I guess you liked it?
Look, whatever else you can lob at Snyder, he's definitely not a gun-for-hire director. He has his own style and aesthetic and projects that appeal to him personally. He's an artist. I just happen to think his art is bad. Second, if you liked this movie, that's fine. Whatever. I do not think less of you if you like a movie that I don't like. A friend of mine, and whose opinion I respect, liked the movie, and it's no big deal. We're still friends.
Spoilers, Leon. I kind of like this movie.
Whatever. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about Taylor Hoyt. Good guy. He just really liked the movie. We can disagree.
It's not good. This was a terrible movie, but I have not had so much fun in a theater since Mad Max. Holy crap. I laughed my ass off. This movie is hilarious.
Look, and that's fine. If you enjoy the movie for so bad it's good reasons, that's totally fine. I'm not capable of that, as mentioned on previous episodes of this show and Renegade Cut. I just dislike things that I think are bad. It's very rare that I'll enjoy something that I think is awful. Anyway, point is, 3 guys talking on the internet about a movie that you like is not an assault on you. I once had someone kind of get up in my grill about liking he liked Jurassic World, and I didn't like Jurassic World, and I expounded on this, and I told him to chill because he kept tweeting me over and over again, and he was like, "Sorry, I just get defensive about this." Defensive means defending yourself from attack. If someone says they dislike a movie that you like, it's not a value judgment on you. So, all right, I just want that to be clear, because I know, like, this thing is like a magnet for comments that are not like cogent. So I just wanted to get that out of the way. I do want to say before I trash a lot of this, and I imagine, Austin, you will have a lot to say, and I swear I won't try to dominate this conversation. I just want to say real quick that I did genuinely like the first 15 minutes of this movie. And I consider myself, in terms of media, an optimist. I like the idea of getting excited for things. So I wanted to think that, at the time it was like 35% on Rotten Tomatoes. And I'm like, I could be in that 35%. I might like this thing.
I went in with very, very low expectations. I was expecting to hate it.
Okay. All right. Well, I went in. And, this, again, spoilers, we get it, it starts, and although they don't go through a long, elaborate thing about how Bruce Wayne became Batman, they had to show some of the basic, iconic imagery, and that was fine. And they did it,
do his parents get shot?
They show, it in sort of like, with, like, music in the background, in slow motion, you see some of the, like I said, iconic images of, Bruce watching his parents die.
Well, not only does he see them die, and this is like the first perfect Zack Snyder touch. They die trying to kung fu fight Chill. Like they both lunge at him.
They try to fight back, and that actually I know why that didn't bother me. That makes sense because like Batman's the story is Joe Chill meets Batman's parents in an alley, and he says, "Give them your money," and the story is they're like, basically do. But Joe Chill's like, ah, fuck you, I'm Joe Chill, and kills him and leaves Bruce Wayne alive. And it's like, they must have fought back, right? That must be part of the story. So they did try to fight back.
I've seen Batman's parents die on film like a dozen times, and I've never seen what they tried to pull. This is my first laugh of the movie, is when they go in to like Crouching Tiger him.
And that makes more sense to me why Batman's parents die. So I was okay with that. Then they did a thing where Batman falls in the pit and sees the bats. I liked the bats swirling around him, and it's like expressionistic. He's not literally flying; it's just expressionistic. It's
a dream sequence. We immediately find out. Look, my biggest problem. This is going to come up several times, probably. Is there are several dream sequences in this film, very long, drawn out. There's like a nested one where he's like dreaming about dreaming, and in the dream he gets knocked unconscious and then wakes up later as if it's really happening, and then like someone breaks into his dream. The dream sequences are the worst. They need not even fixed. They need to be out. They need to with an axe cut out of this movie.
That's
I
fair.
felt the same way about Sucker Punch.
That's a movie about like dream sequences.
The point
I know, it would have been way better if they'd all been cut out.
The point is, I actually, they had to introduce Batman, but not show him becoming Batman. We start as he is 20 years into this thing. We just get a quick, during the credits, music video with nice, sad music. We see a little bit of his past. And I thought that was handled well enough, or at least as well as it could. And then we got to see something I wanted to see, which was from the perspective of Superman 9/11 from Man of Steel, from the perspective of the people down there, and how shitty this must have been for them. Basically, Man of Steel 9/11 imagery was basically sky punches. And I guess it's meant to make Superman look good. From the perspective of everyone else, it's just two dudes destroying the city, and it doesn't matter who he claims to be the good guy.
Yeah,
and I like
it acknowledges the collateral damage of Man of Steel.
And I appreciated that, and I also appreciated that they, like I said, in the first 15 minutes, show Bruce Wayne to be a heroic figure. He runs into the debris and the dust. He saves a child. He looks at Superman and he's like, "Oh man, that motherfucker!" And I was like, "Okay, wait a minute, this wasn't so bad. Maybe I'm gonna like this thing." And then afterwards, everything is horrible.
I do like how that entire sequence, the camera lingers lovingly on his Jeep. There's a lot of really out of place product placement in this movie. There's like
I didn't notice that at all, but okay.
Oh, there's a bunch of it. There's a part where it zooms in on someone's like moisturizer or some shit, and there's a part with it's actually a really good joke, but with about Jolly Ranchers. There's a bunch.
Yeah, that was weird.
There's a bunch of it. It's funny.
Okay, so those are the things I liked about the film. I also liked that they did not completely fuck up Wonder Woman, and that was like a big thing. It's like, are they going to fuck this up? They did not completely fuck up Wonder Woman. She looked like the strongest and most sensible character in the film.
She doesn't get much screen time, which helps. I feel like...
Yeah, that's true. But basically his job was to not fuck it up, and he did not fuck it up. I didn't expect this to be about Wonder Woman. I just didn't want him to fuck it up, and he didn't.
It's a low bar. She also has a killer theme song, thanks to Junkie XL, the guy who did the music for Mad Max Fury Road. And my theater broke out in applause when she showed up and her theme song hit, and I was like, hell yeah, this is the best part yet.
Yep. So there.
Okay, I'm sorry, I gotta ask. That bit in the trailers where she shows up, is that the first time you see her in her Wonder Woman?
Oh, yes. You see, that's the first time you see her like fully in the Wonder Woman uniform. You see a picture, like a photograph of her from almost 100 years ago, wearing something similar. But that's like, this is her as Wonder Woman and not Diana in a dress.
Yeah.
Here's the thing about that scene, and I admit that I'm going way ahead now towards the end of the film. In the trailer, this was the reveal for Wonder Woman, the trailer. And the trailer spot was she appears, and then Superman looks at Batman and he says, "Was she with you?" And Batman says, "I thought she was with you." And then da 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 da, and that was the end of the trailer. I'm like, oh, what a funny line for the trailer. That's in the movie, and it doesn't make any sense. Because in the trailer, you think, oh, this is them meeting Wonder Woman. This is the first time either of them have seen this individual. So it makes sense that they had that one funny line. That's not the case. Bruce Wayne meets Diana early in the film and discovers who she is about halfway, 2/3 of the way through the film. He sends her emails saying, "Hey, I know who you are. What up?" So
You single?
So
What are you doing tonight?
so
ASL?
yeah, the point is, it makes no sense. That dialogue between them, although I guess mildly amusing, makes no sense. Because when Superman says, "Is she with you?" Batman should have says, "I am aware of her. Yes, I know who she is. We've sort of been working together on a thing."
I think that's
let's
nitpicking
fight.
because as far as he knows, she's also a Kryptonian. Like he doesn't know why she's like 100-year-old magic person.
That's not what it seems like, though. He's not saying, "Oh, I thought." It looks like they're seeing her for the first time. And
There's a lot of nits to be picked, and I'm not in favor of focusing on this one. I can find excuses for that line.
I don't find. I think that they shot it for the trailer and kept it in the movie.
No, there's a ton of that. No, definitely. There's a lot of those lines where they're like, "Things will never be the same," or like, "If we assume he's a threat," and they're like just shit that like comes off like trailer lines. 100%.
I thought it was not only trailer line, but like plot contrivance and like almost a hole. But not the point. I guess that is still a minor issue with a much larger problems. I've talked for a bit. We're 20 minutes into this call. Austin,
How do the other Justice League cameos measure up?
oh god.
Yeah. So Batman
Austin,
steals.
take it.
Yeah, Batman steals Lex Luthor's files that he's accumulating on all the metahumans in the DC universe, and he just opens them up. And there's one for the Flash, there's one for Aquaman, there's one for Cyborg, and then Wonder Woman. And it's literally he clicks on them, and they open up like what are they called? Like viral marketing trailers, basically. And then you, as the viewer of this movie, sit there and watch trailers for these other movies.
Yeah, it is embarrassing. I imagine this is the only time I'll like protect Zack Snyder here. That was almost certainly studio mandate, but it could have been done better than that. Funny thing about this, Lex Luthor apparently decided what all the Justice League symbols should be because in the file.
Okay, two of my biggest problems with this movie, I said, are A, the dream sequence, B, is Lex Luthor and everything surrounding him. He has no motivation. Nothing he does makes any sense. And I've been over and over and over this in my mind, and I cannot figure out what his fucking deal is. Not only is he just like a fucking crazy person, like a Joker nonsense man for no reason, he also knows everyone's secret identities, and it never comes up until the plot says it does, and then he only uses it for like one thing, and then he just like drops it. It's the weirdest, most contrived garbage bullshit.
Okay, I have a couple things to say about that. First, when in The Dark Knight, when Batman and Alfred are discussing the Joker's motivations, and Alfred says that some men just want to watch the world burn, and the Joker purposefully gives multiple choice answers for where he comes from and what his origins are, that sort of makes sense for the character, and that is purposeful. Whereas Jesse Eisenberg, Lex Luthor, he's just a confused mess, and it feels like the movie itself is confused about why he's doing anything that he's doing.
Well, yeah, because the Joker's characterization as an agent of chaos.
Yeah,
Lex Luthor in this movie has no characterization. He can't be inconsistent because there's nothing to be inconsistent with. He's just a plot device to get these two characters to fight.
Yeah, and that's the other thing I want to talk about. His motivations are so bad, and as are a lot of the characters in the film, and I want to get into that. When I realized none of the motivations of any of the characters added up very well, that was the moment when I realized Man of Steel is a better movie. Because the motivations of... Here's why. Even though Man of Steel is a bad movie, I understood the basic motivations of the primary protagonist and the primary antagonist.
Sick burn, Leon.
Dawn of Justice retroactively makes Man of Steel better.
Yeah, and here's why. In Man of Steel, I don't want to take too much time on Man of Steel, but just very briefly, just for comparison. In Man of Steel, here is Clark Kent's inner conflict and primary motivation. His conflict is his adoptive father is very protective of him and says that he doesn't want him to endanger himself or and frankly, by extension, his loved ones, and he wants him to live a normal life. Clark is like, maybe I should use my powers to do better things than that. And then he hears his birth father, Ghost, say yes. And then he makes his decision to be Superman. His primary motivation is to protect the planet. Done. And he does, sort of. Primary motivation of General Zod, the antagonist of the film. First, to protect Krypton, admittedly through a coup, and then to renew Krypton, admittedly through genocide. His motivations are not justifiable, but I understood what they were and why he was doing what he was doing. Here are the motivations for the three main characters of the film, and I'm sorry, Wonder Woman is not one of them. Batman's motivation for wanting to kill Superman is actually summed up very quickly, but makes no sense. Batman
it's racism.
It partly is racism, but he says if there is even a 1% chance he could be our enemy, we have to take it as an absolute certainty. Batman is one of the smartest people on the planet. He is better at math than that. So that is bullshit. That is not enough for Batman to want to kill someone. It's just not. And I don't just mean Batman. I mean a man. It is not a thing that makes sense as a motivation. It makes sense as plot contrivance to get two muscly dudes to punch each other. So I did not buy that for a second. And not just because of, like warm and fuzzy feelings about Batman. I just mean as any character. About Superman in Dawn of Justice. Superman's character just goes back. He is once again wondering whether or not the world needs a Superman or he should be a Superman. And his other parent says roughly the same thing as the first one. So he makes no character development. Man of Steel's whole defense was, well, he's learning to be Superman. He just hasn't figured himself out yet. Same thing. Same.
So now, so Ma Kent in this episode is like, listen, son, I know that you could save us from, like, evil, horrible aliens that might try and make our world into Krypton and kill everybody, including me, but wouldn't you rather bake a loaf of bread?
Here's
yes.
the thing.
She says that, literally, word for word, yes.
Yeah. And, of course, we've already explained that Lex Luthor doesn't make any sense. He tries to blame this on his feelings on his father at one point.
Yeah,
he
comes up with a couple different things. He says, like, oh, I have daddy issues. Oh, Superman's too dangerous to be left alone. Oh, there are outside threats that are coming, and it doesn't make any sense. He gives a couple different things. They try to. I'm actually not against trying to make Lex Luthor like a modern Silicon Valley sleazeball thing. Like, that's not a bad idea. Updating him, giving a new take on it. It's just the way they go with it is too. It's too Joker. Like, he has this weird speech pattern and he like rambles and tries to be menacing, but he's just this little guy and he says all these really cringy lines that don't really mean anything. He's like constantly talking about like good and evil and devils and aliens, and he has like this ominous painting in his room, and he's trying to inject all this gravitas that don't fit with the Weasley slick like open office Googled like basically nobody that would actually kind of make a hateable villain. And it's not a...
Just...
yeah.
No, continue. Sorry, Austin.
I think people are going to blame Jesse Eisenberg for giving the script what it asked for, when it's the script's fault, not him.
I had a terrifying vision that moment there about a Zack Snyder directed Spider-Man.
Okay, look.
Where, like, Peter Parker has Uncle Ben, like, dying in his arms, and Uncle Ben is like, Peter, listen to me. Peter, get paid. Fuck bitches.
Okay, here's the thing.
Here comes great bitches.
Okay, look. In all seriousness, if the world were not like immediately threatened constantly in these movies, and Superman were the only person who could save them, I could kind of understand his parents' reluctance for him to be Superman, and here's why. Taking out all the supernatural and like superpowered stuff and aliens and shit, they are not much different from concerned parents of a youngster who says, I want to join the army, or I want to be a police officer, or I want to be a firefighter. Because a lot of those parents say, maybe not. Maybe go to college instead. It's a lot less dangerous, and we don't want you to die.
You're giving this way too much thought, Leon. The fact is, the guy who wrote these scripts is like a gross Ayn Rand dude who thinks like, fuck everyone else, get your own. That's like his that's his ideology. That's all there is to it.
I know. But taking the author out of the equation, I don't find Pa Kent to be a despicable person. I just find him to be a frightened father. I'm never going to be a father, but I imagine if I were, I would worry a lot. And I imagine that is that their children are the primary concern of parents. So I get it. I don't think like you said, I don't think it necessarily comes from an honest place or a genuine place, but I sort of get that. That's not a huge problem for me. It's not handled well, but in concept, I don't hate the idea that Superman's parents are like, maybe don't always be Superman. So that's a thing. Funny thing about Zack Snyder, if I can just deviate for just a moment, and his worldview. Zack Snyder, in an interview, he's basically tried to justify the way Superman behaves in Man of Steel, and I guess now in Batman v Superman. A variety of different ways, and he always tries to come up with a new one and hope that one sticks, that the internet takes that one and says, oh, that makes sense. Okay, Zack Snyder. And most recently, Zack Snyder said that Superman needed to kill someone to learn that killing is wrong because killing is wrong. But here's the thing about that.
Just like me and that hobo last week.
That's the thing. Next time Zack Snyder tells us that Superman absolutely needed to kill someone in order to understand killing is wrong, we should ask Zack Snyder who he killed in order to understand killing is wrong. Because there is no right answer. If he says nobody because I'm not a monster, then he invalidates his own point. And if he says some guy named Dave, then we got him. So
you're gonna sting Operation Zack Snyder. Right. No, here's the thing. You just have to accept that these are not like the characters you know and love. These are just people with the same names. Like, look,
no, I'm okay with that.
I've been waiting to get to this for like 20 minutes. Batman murders dozens of people in this movie. He has a chain gun in his car and a chain gun on his plane. He shreds human beings. He takes a knife and he sticks a dude to a wall. He kills unrepentantly and repeatedly in this, and I fucking love it.
Look, here's the thing. And here's the thing about that. I don't mind that there are different interpretations of characters. These movies are not the comic books. It's a completely different continuity. And in this one, Batman's a piece of shit, and Superman's something else.
But they're so. I disagree with when you said this doesn't come from a place of honesty or like genuineness. I think it totally does. It totally lines up with the ideologies that the writers have, which is like special super people, like white, rich, like powerful people make the rules, and if they think you're in the wrong, they deserve to be able to kill you. That's the way that like Frank Miller writes Batman. That's the way that a lot of Batman fans like. Batman is like a fascist. He's always been that.
Here's the thing about that, and there is some truth to that. What I mean, and here's an example. When Superman basically violates airspace and unilaterally does a military operation, and some people die. And it's turns out it's staged, but totally could have happened that way anyway. There's a news report on it and says, should Superman have done this? And Clark kind of scoffs at the TV screen. It's like, no, that's something to think about. And I feel like that is the movie scoffing.
The movie repeatedly makes fun of people who would dare question the greatness of men taking things upon themselves. Like, it's the politics are laid bare in every scene. There's that stuff in the Middle East, like you said. There's this scene about like Asian sex slaves, and there's all these like immigration like parallels and stuff. Like, this movie is overtly political, and the politics are deplorable, but there's not like hiding it. They're not lying about it. It's not even subtext. It's text, and like
And that's what I'm trying to say. What I meant when you said you have to accept that this is not really Superman or Batman. I do accept that. And I frankly, even as a person who read comic books, I have no kind of personal attachment to the two characters where if they're displayed a different way, it bothers me. It doesn't bother me. The movie bothers me. Batman's politics bother me regardless of whether or not he is Batman. His name could be Gary the Bat-shaped superhero. And I would have
Gary.
I would have the same problem with it.
You know the thing
could his name be Deflator Mouse?
It could be. It could be Batmanuel.
You know the thing that fucking tickled me is one of the very first glimpses of Batman's new characterization we get. It's at the beginning when it's revealed that he's branding criminals with a bat symbol so they get murdered in prison. And I cracked up.
Okay, all right. Who is murdering these people in prison?
Other prisoners. They're
Why?
Because
Are they like on Batman's payroll?
It isn't explained.
It's implied that they're like the worst of the worst, like pedophiles and like human traffickers and stuff. And it's like he doesn't want to kill everyone personally, so he lets some other people do some of his dirty work.
So some guys go to jail with a bat symbol on them, and they're like, "Well, Batman says he's a bad guy. I guess we better get him."
Yeah. I guess it's the idea that even criminals draw a line somewhere, and if you're like, I don't know how true this is. There's a common perception that if you're a pedophile, you don't do well in prison. I don't know how true that is. It might come from a place, a true place. But I guess that is what they're trying to say, I think.
I know, but what you just like Batman's the most reliable source here.
It doesn't make any sense, like most things, if you look too close at it. But it cracked me up specifically because if you listen to our other show, you know that branding bad people because of your own warped sense of justice is the characterization of the character I play in our Dungeons and Dragons campaign. Like that's like the first hint that Anne is like not a good person, kind of.
Right.
Like you should listen to our other show, but it cracked me up because I was like, oh my god, they're going there.
Okay.
I was waiting for Batman to burn Gotham down, is what I'm saying.
A lot of things explode. Funny.
But I hear that Gotham and Metropolis are like St. Paul's in Minneapolis.
Yeah. In the comic books, that is not the case. In like any other incarnation of this universe, not the case. But yes, and that threw me. That
it's
really
for plot
threw me.
reasons. Like,
yeah, I know, I totally understand that, but they don't explain that until later. They just sort of show up in each other's backyard. Like Superman could see when Superman said he could see the bat the bat signal. I was like, oh, because he has supervision. No, like literally anyone can. If Superman were just Clark Kent could see it because it's just at street level. You can see it. It's only...
So what that means is in this universe that Gotham, Metropolis, and Bloodhaven are all like three sprawling cities just right next to each other, just cuddled up.
Yep.
Logic and geography bend to the wills of whoever is in charge of these loony-ass scripts.
Yeah. Oh, funny thing about funny thing about Dick Grayson. He's not in the movie. Robin is not in the movie, although there is a shot of what appears to be a Robin uniform with Joker spray painting stuff on it. I guess with the implication that Robin got killed by Joker. There's all this like little hints about what Batman has been doing for the past 20 years because it's established that he's been doing this shit for a very long time. And Alfred has just been slowly watching him like lose his mind.
Yeah.
But luckily we don't have to do all that. We don't need to see another Batman Begins. This is I'm fine with Batman is like 40 now.
Yeah, I actually dig the implicit characterization. Like, we don't need an origin story. We don't necessarily even need to see, like, the Joker kill Robin on screen to get that it's affected Batman. My problem is that that's a more interesting story than the one they try to tell. Like, I would...
Yeah.
I want to see a Ben Affleck directed Batman movie.
Yeah, it could happen.
I want to see that. That's something that I would pay money to see.
Yeah.
And not so I could, like, laugh it off and make fun of it. Because Ben Affleck's a good director who understands things like theme
and look,
and mood.
I'm just going to be that guy. I thought Zack Snyder's direction's fine. And, like, I know I'm that guy. I like 300. I like Watchmen. I love the first half of his Dawn of the Dead remake. Like, I don't have any problem with Zack Snyder. Like, not even in this movie.
Austin.
Yeah.
You're the problem.
I am. Look, you don't have to like what he does, but you have to admit he's good at what he does. It's like Jackson Pollock. Like, he throws paint at the canvas. Like, that's just the thing.
You can be good at shitting at places where you're not supposed to shit. That's a skill that you might have.
Zack Snyder,
something that you get away with really well. And I mean, you might be able to say at some point in time, like, oh, congratulations. I guess that's something that you worked really hard on.
And Zack Snyder makes muscly dudes punch each other in slow motion, and he's good at it.
I wouldn't say he's good at it. I would say he is competent at it. I don't think like just in terms of visuals, he's shitty. I just think that in a lot of other ways, he's shitty.
I liked the direction, I liked the music, and I laughed a lot. Like, those are, like, I'm not going to take that away from this movie. I think the script is actively heinous. And I think that the acting is, like, whatever. It's not, like, anything interesting. But, like, it's mostly the script that fails this movie, not Snyder. That's
and again, I believe that Zack Snyder had more to do with what this movie was going to be story-wise than I think people are sort of giving him credit for. He has a lot of sway in what's going to happen. When Man of Steel was not a thing, it was just a glimmer in his eye. He went to Christopher Nolan and says, "I have a good idea for a Superman movie, and it goes like this." And Nolan was like, "That's a good idea," and helped him produce it. So he has concepts. He's not just following the script.
And you have to admit that the movie accomplishes its goal in the sense that it sets up the Justice League. Like it introduces all these new characters, and spoilers, it gets Superman out of the way for them.
I actually disagree. I don't think it introduces a lot of characters. I think it if you blink, you can miss it. And I'm sorry, that's not an introduction of a character to me. That's more like if this were a comic book, this would be one panel. And that's not an introduction to a character. We know what their names are, but we don't, if we had never heard of Aquaman, we would not know his name was Aquaman because they don't say, "Here's Aquaman."
I don't think they need to. I think we know what's up.
No, I agree. But I'm saying narratively, we are not introduced to any characters. Okay. Funny story. I mentioned this on Twitter, but I'll elaborate. It was requested of me to buy and consume a movie tie-in cereal. There is a Batman cereal and a Superman cereal because of this movie, and I ate both of them. Funny story, the Batman cereal is bitter, and the Superman cereal is bland. I'm not joking. It really is. I could not believe it, that in cereal form, this is the movie.
Can we just talk about the actual fight? Because eventually Batman and Superman do verse, or I guess they V each other.
Oh, they V each other. One more thing. If Jesse Eisenberg, Lex Luthor, could have his own cereal, I could only imagine it would taste like ham. Anyway, yes, go right ahead and talk about the V.
That's a good joke.
Thank you.
So, there's that meme in comics that with enough preparation, Batman can beat anyone.
Yep.
I know that it's a thing that people like to cling to.
Yeah.
Well, the script believes it wholeheartedly.
Yeah. I mean,
Batman just bodies him.
Yeah, spoilers. We said spoilers in the beginning, but yeah, in case you were wondering who wins, basically Batman. He sprays Superman with kryptonite smoke, and then he beats the shit out of him, and then it sort of wears off. And then I
hear that he makes him a man.
And then Superman smacks him around a little and was like, "That wasn't cool." And then Batman just does it again, and then beats the shit out of him even harder, and then is about to murder Superman. He decides not to.
I hear that he makes Superman a man by spearing him.
Oh my god. So
Johnny just can't help himself.
Johnny did not see the movie, so he's got to get his 2 cents in here. That's fine. But no, in all seriousness, the fight ends when Superman spares Superman. I'm sorry, when Batman spares Superman.
Because of coincidence.
Which means Batman won. Here's the thing. Batman.
What is it that convinces Batman to spare Superman? I gotta know.
Batman's adopted mother is named Martha, and Bruce's biological mother is named Martha, and Superman's mother has been kidnapped by Lex Luthor, and Superman's like, "No, we've got to save Martha," and then Batman, in a moment of realization, is like, "My mother's named Martha," and people are making fun of this because that's just a stupid coincidence, and that shouldn't be enough to turn off Batman's bloodlust, because he's, like, dead set on murdering this dude. But it's not about the coincidence that their name is Martha. It's about Batman realizing that this is a person. Mm-hmm. That being said, that very human moment is sort of ruined, like, 10 minutes later. Because if that were, like, the epiphany moment where Batman is like, "Wow, all life is precious," then I would be like, oh, okay, that's actually a good moment, Zack Snyder. That shows a real, level of humanity that I didn't think you had. But 10 minutes later, that's when he murders the most dudes.
That's what I wanted to talk about, because the actual Batman v Superman fight is like a really boring 5-minute thing where he throws him through a bunch of walls in an abandoned building. Yeah. And then the fight immediately after that is the best one, where he kills like 30 dudes, and it's like really like dynamic, and it's like an actually well choreographed, interesting fight, unlike the one that the movie is named after.
Yeah, it's the only, in my opinion, like well choreographed fight in the movie. The rest is a lot of quick cuts to this and quick cuts to that, and it's the fight scenes from Guardians of the Galaxy where things just kind of cut around are okay. The fight scenes in Captain America: Winter Soldier, where it looks like martial arts, are cool. This is closer to Guardians of the Galaxy. Not that I'm bad-mouthing Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm just saying that's not a movie where action was the main focus. Whereas this movie, literally, it's called a fight in the title, and the fight is like, it's fine.
I think it's funny how this is one of the most expensive movies ever made, and it got like totally shown up by like a Netflix original in terms of fight scenes. Like Daredevil's fights are 1,000 times better.
Oh yeah, sure. So yeah, I mean, my feelings on the movie are that it was bad. Which is not surprising. I will have more elaborate thoughts on this, more, let's say, philosophical thoughts on this, more political thoughts on this when I actually do the episode.
You're gonna do a Renegade Cut on BVS?
I need to
DOJ?
BVS colon DOJ. Yes, I am doing an actual episode on this later this year. I don't do bad movies very much, but here's the thing. I was going to do the Divergent series as my bad movie episode for this year. I do one once or twice a year. But here's the thing. I just realized a couple weeks ago, there's another Divergent movie. It's not over because they split, much like a lot of other movie series based on young adult novels. They split the last part into two. So I have to wait another year. I don't want to do the first three and then deal with the fourth one later. So anyway, I'm going to do Batman v Superman. I certainly won't be the first person on Channel Awesome to do it. I don't think it's kind of all over Twitter and not a secret at all that someone big and someone else big are doing a crossover about it. But it will be obviously nothing like my episode. Also, Film Brain, whose opinions I respect, we'll be doing an episode about it as well later this year. So expect
what you're telling me is you don't want me to dress up as Batman, fly to Baltimore, and punch you in the face?
No, I won't need that. But yeah, this is going to be all over like every.
Well, now
website.
What I'm going to do this weekend?
I don't know. Batman v Superman is the thing everyone is talking about on the internet, usually negatively, and it's certainly on all the websites that inhabit our little community, and it will for the foreseeable future, up until and including its Blu-ray release in a few months, when I'll be able to actually do the episode.
You have to admit that there's a lot to dig into, though. Like most bad movies, you just go like, "Oh, that's bad. The acting is bad. The effects are bad." But there's a lot going on. There's actually a whole speech that Lex Luthor gives about what's known in theology as the problem of evil, that if God is all good, he can't be all powerful, and vice versa. And it's like, that's some interesting shit. Like, I've written papers on that. It's called theodicy. It's like this entire branch of religious studies. They never actually get around to exploring it, but they bring it up, which is interesting.
The movie brings up a lot of stuff and then never explores it. The movie feels like it was written by someone who just finished Philosophy 101 and thinks they know everything. That's
religious studies. Hey guys,
religious studies.
Pop quiz. How did Jesus die, Johnny? How did Jesus die?
Do you want cause?
Yeah, cause of death.
I believe he was speared in the ribs.
Fuck, I was hoping you would say crucifixion. Damn, you got it in one. The climax of this movie is Superman, the Jesus figure, and a very large spear.
Well, yeah, look, I respect the fact that Zack Snyder basically wanted to make The Last Temptation.
You're talking about
Christ
Batman's
twice.
penis, right?
God damn it.
I respect the fact that this was basically Zack Snyder trying to do The Last Temptation of Christ twice. For anyone who has not seen the film or read the book, it is an interpretation of Christ in which he wonders whether or not he should live a magical existence or live the life of a normal person.
So does that mean that we can call Man of Steel the second Last Temptation of Christ?
Also, wasn't the movie released on Good Friday?
Yep, it sure was. I didn't even realize it was. I was like sitting in the theater and I legitimately tweeted like, why are all these kids here? Isn't this a school day? And then someone had to remind me on Twitter like, no, it's like Good Friday. A lot of schools are off. I'm like, oh, okay. I genuinely forgot about that. By the way, tons of kids in the theater. Not okay, parents. And this is coming from a guy whose parents let him see a lot of rated R movies in the theater under their supervision. But this movie is not appropriate for children. I'm sorry. And I don't just mean because it's unpleasant and violent. I mean, these shouldn't be their heroes. That's what I'm trying to say. I wonder if there's anything more I want to talk about right now.
I mean,
but Leon, when I took my kids to go see Deadpool, they got all scared. So
there's a million other things I want to say about this movie. I can't say them all, but I do think that this movie accomplished its goals, which were to get Batman and Superman to fight and to get Superman out of the way so that he can't just solve all of the problems in the Justice League movies with the individual people. Because there's no villain that Aquaman can go up against that Superman couldn't kill in 5 seconds. So you have to get him out of the way. He's a fiction ruining entity, but they're going to bring him back. He's not dead. He's coming back for the Justice League movie.
He's not only not dead, he made dirt fly in the last few frames of the movie, which means like, oh, there's not even the slightest possibility. Yeah. You're not even supposed to think he's dead by the last few frames of the film. It
was a cowardly appeasement of people who were worried that he was gone, and it's kind of lame. But
yeah,
it makes sense from a world building perspective. Everything they did, and
I know I understand from a marketing perspective why it works. I just think that, and I agree that yes, they did set up some other movies. Like, from a marketing perspective. Yeah, I don't think it was a failure in that regard. I just think it's creatively bankrupt, and I think that it is also morally repugnant.
Well, it's so dumb that they busted it out this early because as soon as they showed Doomsday in those trailers, you knew he was toast. That's the only thing Doomsday does. He's the guy who kills Superman. That's his thing.
It's literally his only thing. I want to say one more thing for the people who are rushing to the comments to say, stop taking this so seriously. It's just a funny Superman movie. No, it's not. The movie takes itself seriously. It will not stop talking about God and good and evil and whether or not Jesus is Superman.
It makes it funnier though because it's so dissonant. There was this rumor, or I don't know if it was confirmed, but that WB's had a no joke policy. They wanted to distance themselves from the Marvel quips that Joss Whedon was putting in everything, and so they were going to have a no joke policy. But this movie is full of jokes. There's the one part where Jesse Eisenberg is talking to a senator or something, and they're in the Google offices. And he's like, oh yeah, come into my office. And they take 2 steps to the left and they're in the main room and he just sticks a Jolly Rancher in the dude's mouth. That's hilarious.
Yeah, I don't understand that. Anyway, that's all. I mean, we've talked about this for over 15 minutes now. Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice. Dawn of Justice. It is not good. I don't care if you like it. But I did not.
It's bad, but it was worth the $6.
That's a good deal.
I had fun.
Yeah, fair enough. I did not. But whatever. It's whatever. I saw it in 3D. How did you see it, Austin?
Oh, definitely 2D.
Okay, that's fair. I normally see things in 2D, but I was like, you know what? I might as well.
That might have helped the final fight scene because that shit's like a PS3 cutscene. They were all just CG flying around. It was it was like a Dragon Ball episode. They were all just shooting energy and flying through the air.
Let me tell you something, Austin. The 3D is not good at all. Oh. It completely goes away during a lot of the scenes. It's not like a constant 3D movie. It's just this is a scene that's sort of in 3D, but not well. So it was just me trying to have fun with the movie and failing. I consider myself sort of an optimist when it comes to media. I really wanted to think this could be good. I don't like watching bad movies. I like watching good movies, and I like getting excited for movies. And no amount of bad movies will make me cynical about movies. That's how I feel. And that's all I wanted to say about this movie. Johnny, you haven't had a lot to say for the past 54 minutes we've had this call, and I'm sorry.
That's fine.
He did it to himself. He could have seen the movie. He chose not to.
It's true. I resign myself to this fate.
Okay. Johnny, I wanted to say something. This will take like 2 minutes. A little while ago, you asked how the American primary elections work, and Austin and I were both like a little stumped.
I think the answer you gave me was poorly.
Yeah, so if you're still interested, I could like explain this to you in like a minute and a half. I did some research and I could explain it to you a little better now.
I'm excited now.
Okay, the Democrats, Democrats. It's pretty simple, but for the Republicans right now, Trump or any other Republican need to take 1,237 delegates to clinch the nomination. They are awarded mostly through winning primaries and caucuses, like at the state level or in certain U.S. territories, but also through superdelegates, who are predominantly politicians and other important government figures. At the Republican convention, which is a few months away, during what is called the first round, all the delegates who have a duty to either vote for their area elected, whoever their area sort of elected, or superdelegates who have committed themselves to a particular candidate, basically vote. And if they reach 1,237 for a particular candidate, or more, most likely Trump, he is automatically the nominee for the Republican Party. But if he fails to have that many delegates vote for him, in the second round, the hobgoblins appear from beneath the earth to bring about the Assyrian end times. If the hobgoblins can't complete this, Oberon takes control of the Republican Party for the next 200 years, unless the delegates get together to get behind a new candidate. See, in the first round, they are stuck representing their people, but afterwards, anything goes. It's what's called a brokered convention. They actually can choose someone who is not one of the candidates for president. And that is it. That's basically it.
2 questions.
Yeah. Only 2? Wow.
Only 2. How does one become a delegate for each party?
I genuinely don't know. I know of a person who is the delegate, so I could ask her. But it's basically just a lot of bureaucracy and forms and shit. It's not. It's how do I put this? It's more of a representative thing more than it is like you don't like. They don't get like a big battle royal, and whoever is the winner becomes the delegate. It's mostly it's mostly like you're supposed to be there to like check a box. To say,
right.
Okay, yeah, it's supposed to be like it's not supposed to be a big deal to be a delegate. You're just it is a big deal to be a super delegate. That is chosen by the party, though. And again, they're
I just mean that like you have to be a member of the political party to be a delegate, right?
Yes.
Like
I believe
when
so.
when a bunch of people are campaigning to be the candidate, the presidential candidate, you as a layman citizen can't just show up to the voting booth and be like, "Here's who I want for my candidate."
Didn't you watch the new season of House of Cards, Johnny? They do this.
No, I haven't watched any House of Cards.
Oh, okay.
I could have just said watch
they
House of
explicitly explain and depict all of this.
Okay. All right.
Even
so anyway.
even how you become a delegate, because that's the part that confuses me.
It doesn't matter. Hey,
it's literally it's genuinely unimportant, and I don't mean that like as a dodge. I mean it's not important
because the delegates are supposed to just vote the way that the people already voted. It's not like you get autonomy.
Right. It's the same thing for like the electoral college. Like Utah has a certain amount of electoral votes, and it's different from Michigan.
It's a formality.
It's just that like the question that I have is that like when I see in the headlines that say, Trump won Alaska, I'm like, won what?
He won a certain amount of delegates based on how many percentage of the state he won.
Okay, so a popular vote then?
He won the popular vote. If Trump won like 56% of the vote, then he will get a certain amount of delegates that is close to, but not exactly 50%, 56%.
Okay, so there is a popular vote then for candidates.
Yes. I will be voting in the Maryland primary for the Democratic Party. I will be.
Okay, that's that's my question, because like all the talk is about delegates and how many delegates
you didn't
and
even
like
know that you didn't even know that we're voting for them. Yes, we are voting for them.
That's the thing, is that like the way that like by contrasting Canadian politics, right? The leader of a political party is chosen by members of that party. They all get together in a room and go, I don't know, Bob. Yeah, Bob's all right. Yeah, okay, Bob. And then the next election, it's like Bob is the leader of the Flying Yoga Party.
No, in theory, we decide who is the nominee. In reality, there are a lot of other forces at work that are persuading certain superdelegates you have to vote for this one because this is the establishment candidate. For example,
I mean, of course, I'm just saying on paper.
Yeah, oh yeah,
on paper. You get to go out for the primary and be like, I want to vote for these two rubes.
Absolutely.
I do like how we could just Google all of this. Like,
no, I understand. I just wanted to make my hobgoblin joke.
I know, that was a good joke. One more thing. I don't think I made a very strong case for Zack Snyder's direction in that movie being worthwhile, and I just want to add one more detail in case you don't believe me.
All right.
There's a scene where Clark Kent and Lois Lane have sex in a bathtub, and it immediately cuts to a chimney, and then a bunch of bats fly out of it. That was the funniest shit. How could you not love that?
I have
because I've tried to have sex in a bathtub, Austin, and it's the worst thing ever.
Oh, trying to have sex like in a tub or when the shower's on, it's not good at all.
It depends on the size of the shower or tub.
No, it's genuinely a bad idea. I'm sorry, but like with the rarest of exceptions, please don't. Anyway,
that's a good visual joke. That is a good joke, and I loved it.
I didn't even notice it, but maybe because I was closing my eyes.
You're such a child.
I'm sorry. I don't want to watch straight people have sex. So,
I don't know if Henry Cavill's butt is in the scene. I'll check it out.
It's not. There's no nudity in the movie to the best of my recollection. Then again, there is an R-rated cut coming.
Not even a little Cavill meat.
There's nothing.
Zack Snyder, for shame.
No. There's no bat dick at all. Anyway,
well, there's never any bad dick. Batman never gets down.
Oh, here's another detail I didn't mention. So, the first third of the movie, I'm sorry, I have to do this. There's no other chance.
Fine.
The first third of the movie, Batman's trying to find something called white Portuguese. Right? And he goes on these missions. He's like beating information out of people. He's like trying to piece it together. And then he gets frustrated and just Googles it.
Oh, yeah. Honestly,
it's the first result.
Yeah.
Fuck. I know someone's going to comment and be like, oh, no, it was a secret database, not Google. But
it was in the back computer, dude.
Was not clear.
No.
It made it seem like he got mad at the game's puzzle and then just game faxed it. It just looked up a lot. Fuck. That was brilliant.
Right. Okay. Unless, Johnny, you have any topics for this week, we can go right into questions. We've been doing this for over an hour now, and we should probably start to wrap up. But I know Austin, you want to do questions, so go right ahead. Again, unless Johnny,
I'll breeze by a couple of things that happened to me this week.
Okay.
I finished Mr. Robot. First season's really solid. I think you guys should check it out. It's only 10 episodes. Won't take that much time. All day long, I've been hitting the refresh button on my email, waiting to see that my order for Oculus Rift is being assembled and is getting ready to ship, but it hasn't happened yet, even though I pre-ordered within the first hour of the orders going up. I'm really anxious about that, so expect updates on that regularly. What else? There was one other thing that I wanted to talk about. But it doesn't matter, because I can't remember.
Must not be that important. Johnny, do you ever worry that you might have Betamaxed this? Like, you picked the one that's not going to be popular?
The thought occurred to me beforehand, but now that everything's kind of like come to light, you're perfectly capable of installing other VR applications onto the Rift. Like you don't have to buy them through the Rift source, so technically you don't have to use like Betamax format.
Okay.
The only worry that I had was that not having the touch controllers would limit the functionality of my particular unit. But then seeing what they've said that the touch controllers are going to add, I think they said last week, they were like, yeah, having the second sensor that comes with the touch controllers is going to give you an active moving space of about 6 by 11 feet. And I'm like, whoa, that is way more in line with my living space than the dimensions that the Valve slash HTC unit provides. So I think at this point in time, essentially, because even Sony mentioned the other day, they're like, yeah, we're looking at possibly releasing Sony VR for PC. I think everybody realizes that if they try and lock down format at this point in time and be like, no, you're only going to be able to play this on ours, then the whole medium is going to die. Right now, everybody kind of has to be open and share development space so that they build that user base.
It's mutually assured destruction right now. Everyone has to be on the same side or they all die.
Yeah, exactly. And it looks like everybody realizes that, so I think I've made a good choice. I'm also like one of the reasons why I bought into Oculus as opposed to HTC, despite the slightly more prohibitive cost of the Valve unit, is because I'm actually really interested in the touch controllers specifically. They look like something different. Because the Valve ones just kind of look like Wii remotes or like PlayStation Move or something like that. But the Valve ones, the Oculus Touch controllers look a little bit more like they have some ideas. And I like the fact Jason Rubin did an interview with PC Gamer and said, listen, the only reason why we don't have the touch controllers out right now is because we want to have games for it, because we want people to buy them not thinking that they have to buy them, but because there are all these cool things that come with them.
Okay.
So, I think I made a good decision.
Okay. Cool.
Awesome. I mean, time will tell. I'll talk about it, of course. But
yeah, I mean that's going to be a constant thing, and that's fine.
No, it won't be constant. It'll be really big at first, and then it'll kind of like settle, and then there will be this eureka moment where I'll be like, "Oh my god, I found it! This is the thing." Okay. But I did try Gear. Oh, that's the third thing. I tried Gear VR this week. I had a friend who pre-ordered the Samsung phone that came with a free copy of Gear VR, and he brought it to work. I didn't really get to fiddle with the lens distance because the thing that makes VR kind of VR is that you put these lenses in the face mask that essentially directs the light to your eyes in a certain way that it kind of convinces you that these images that look like fisheye, if you were to look at them on a regular monitor, are hitting your eye in a way that kind of presents them as a much more rounded image. So Gear VR is this thing that you slap your phone into, and then it goes on your face. So I didn't like it to fiddle with the lens distance or how close they are together or how close they are to your face or anything like that. But I put them in and played with a couple of demos. And they were just like these, 90-minute videos and things like that. But there was this one that was like Jurassic Park licensed, where it just comes up and you're sitting in this forest and there's this fucking, I don't even know what kind of dinosaur. It was listed on the front of the app, but it's not like I had a notepad or anything like that. And I was really surprised at the head tracking. I was sitting at my desk and just kind of looking around, and there was zero lag. It didn't feel like I was, I don't know, it was really impressive. And the funny thing about it is that because I've been so hyper aware of VR for some time, I always had it. I always was like, yep, I've got a headset on. Yep, I got a headset on. And this dinosaur stands up and comes and sniffs you. And the moment it started moving towards me, even though I'm thinking to myself, yep, I got a headset on, my heart just started to go, the thump, the thump, the thump, the thump, the thump, the thump, the thump. And I'm like, uh-oh. It was so funny to be actively aware of how fooled I was.
Yeah.
And it makes me even more excited now to actually get my hands on my Rift, because the Gear VR is just one phone. Mm-hmm. That's all that powers it. And when I get the Rift, it's going to plug into my graphics card. It's got 2 screens per eye. Having had that experience, I'm now like, fuck, yes, I made the right choice.
Okay.
Questions?
Let's do it.
I got a lot of questions this week and a lot of good ones. Neko McEvil.
Then only do the good ones.
Okay, just the hits. Neko McEvil asks, favorite non-Disney animated film. I know you're all gonna go Studio Ghibli first, but try to reach around, get
No,
something.
I'm not.
No?
No, not at all. It might be Perfect
It's such a
Blue.
beautiful day.
Hertzfeldt's a good answer.
Yeah. Without like going through my entire list of movies that I've ever seen, all of them being and narrowing down only the animated ones, and then narrowing down the non-Disney ones, without giving it a great deal of thought, the first thing that pops to my mind is Perfect Blue.
Have you guys ever seen The Secret of Kells?
No.
It's on my Netflix list.
I believe it's an Irish movie, animated movie.
Yeah.
I saw it in theaters twice. And if you know anything about me, you know that's a pretty ringing endorsement. It's a very good movie about like Celtic mythology and stuff. That's the first thing that comes to mind. Very good.
Didn't the same studio do Secret of the Sea
Song of the Sea
or something? Song of the Sea.
I think so. Yeah, that was nominated for an Academy Award, and that people didn't vote for it, and they were quoted as saying that they didn't care about Chinese shit. I believe was the
yeah, I heard that. It was terrible.
Yeah. Oh man, that's garbage. Rick Armstrong asks, "What would your last meal be and why?"
Something that's shaped like a weapon. To get myself out of this particular predicament.
So Leon will be having Steak K-47.
Right.
I was thinking like,
no. In all seriousness, I would be like too uncomfortable to. This wouldn't be like, okay, let's make it good. I would just be like a mess.
if you like a chicken drumstick, and then if you can't beat people to death, you like sharpen the bone and go around shivving people.
Yeah.
I
mean, I'm sorry to have like a joke answer. I'm sure that like, but it would not matter to me. Is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I can't believe you give a joke answer to this very serious question.
Yeah.
I'd probably go one of two ways.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
I'd probably either go like really nice, like beef Wellington, maybe like a mustard balsamic kale salad, fried mushrooms, red wine, or just be like, give me fried chicken.
I do like
You
that.
gotta get Popeyes, Johnny. You gotta come to America and get Popeyes fried chicken.
I want to.
It's
so
good.
bad.
I
so
like
good.
how much like a view those guys your guys' answers were. Leon's like, I don't care, and Johnny's like an elaborate snobbish answer.
Or fried chicken.
Very on
Yeah,
brand.
I mean that's fair.
I think my answer would be pies and fries because it rhymes, and also those are the two best food groups.
When you say pies, do you mean pieces or do you mean actual pies? Because I don't know what people mean when they say pies anymore.
Well, that's the great thing about pies is that they're
Pizza.
yeah, they incorporate everything. It could be pizza, it could be like a dessert pie, like a chocolate pie, it could be a fruit pie. You get your cobblers in there. There's all kinds of things that fall under pies. And same
Okay,
thing.
fuck it. Chuck E. Cheese.
Yeah, can I go somewhere?
No.
For this meal, or am I just in a cell? I don't know why I'm assuming that I'm locked up and about to die. My last meal could just be like I'm fading at 102 in a bed, and someone wants to make me a meal.
Yeah, Leon, maybe you're terminal. Let's go to Chuck E. Cheese together.
Okay,
That's it,
Johnny.
Leon. You and me. When I'm 86 and you're like 82, I don't know. Let's go to
83.
Chuck E. Cheese.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not that much younger than you, but yes, we're really old and we got nothing left to live for. We'll go to Chuck E. Cheese. If there isn't,
How old are you? Aren't you 4 years younger than me? I thought you were 4.
no, I'll be 34 in a month and a half.
Okay, all right, fine. So you're 2 years younger than me. I was way off.
No, I'm just okay.
You
Anyway,
ancient crusty fucks.
all right. Next question.
You're not allowed to come to Chuck E. Cheese with us, Austin.
All right. Mattis Cool asks, favorite Bond film?
I guess Skyfall, but I'm not a big Bond guy. I mean, it was good though, so
Yeah, I'm not super big into Bond. It's kind of just like a platform for like the coolest action that they can stage in any given era. Like the old ones don't hold up super well, and the new ones are fine for what they are. So probably the latest Casino Royale.
Yeah, probably Casino Royale. But I've got a really, really weak spot for A View to a Kill.
That's the
because
Christopher
it was
Walken,
just so.
right? Is that the one with the Christopher
What?
Walken?
I think so. Yeah.
That's a good
I'm
one
looking
too.
it up because I don't know what
Yeah,
that one is.
and because it's just so fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Some James Bond movies are just like comedies. Like Moonraker is just a fucking goof.
Yeah.
Okay.
But Casino Royale, I mean, if it was like you can only watch one movie for the rest of your life and it has to be a Bond movie, I'd be like, give me Casino Royale.
I'd be like, shoot me now.
All right.
And they'd be like, yeah, but only after you watch Moonraker.
Oh, no. Here's one that's going to leave Johnny out. Unemployed Historian asks, which Adventure Time character is most like your fellow Wordfunk hosts?
Yeah, I'm out.
I feel like...
I'm sorry. Are we saying like which one is more like me, or are we assigning them to our?
You're both the Ice King.
No, that's, first of all, that's rude. Second of all, I think Johnny is definitely Princess Bubblegum. I think that's indisputable. I think the question is, Leon, are you more of a Rainicorn or a Marceline?
Ooh, I'd like to be a Rainicorn. I did briefly spend some time in Korea, and everyone knows I'm a beautiful unicorn.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say BMO, sort of gender ambiguous, and I'd like to be cute. I don't think I am, but that's what I'd like for myself.
I'm definitely a banana guard.
Okay. Not even like a specific one.
No, just a banana guard.
That's fine.
All
right.
Oh man, there's so many good ones.
Okay.
El Consolero asks, what's the official holiday of the Gorfanax religion and why? Guys, world building. This is our shot.
Feast of 1,000 Feet.
Okay, I don't think I can beat that.
All right.
Johnny, do you have any?
It's not eating though. It's very sexual. It's mostly sucking.
I'm gonna go with
I do like how It's Mostly Sucking is a good title for an episode that deals mostly with Batman v Superman as well.
I'm gonna go with Take the Future Meat Day.
We are weird. Have you guys ever noticed that? We're just like weird dudes.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
I try to embrace it.
All right. Next.
Let's see here. For this is JM Balls asks, for Johnny, what whiskey do you prefer? And for Leon, have you read the book Blade Runner is based on?
I have not.
Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep is a good short story. It's very short and it's not as like detailed or emotional as the movie, so I don't think you're like missing out. It's fine, but
all right.
It's not mandatory.
Okay.
And there's also part of that question for me, which just says, "How are you normal?" And I would just say, "I am not. I'm a weird nerd." So, sorry.
Favorite whiskey is a complicated question because
God.
No, it really is because there are several.
Sorry.
No, there are several types of whiskey. There's of course Scotch whiskey, there's rye whiskey, there's bourbon, there's sour mash whiskey, which is close to bourbon except for a couple of different reasons. So I'll try and keep my answers short here. My favorite type of whiskey is probably Scotch. Although these days I'm drinking bourbon a lot more regularly. My favorite type of Scotch is an Aberlour line. It's called and I'm probably going to botch this pronunciation. It's called the Abunat, I think. That's spelled A''BUNADH. They brew it at cask strength, so it comes out really strong. It comes out at I think 47 or 50%. So you absolutely have to take it with a little bit of water, but with just the right amount, it's like drinking I can't even describe. As far as bourbon goes, my favorite bourbon of all time is probably from Buffalo Trace, called the E.H. Taylor collection. They make really small batches of bourbon. The E.H. Taylor bourbon is a little bit more expensive than I usually like to spend on bourbon, but when I have happy happenstances in my life, I will splurge for one. Normally, I like to stick to Maker's Mark if I'm drinking it with a little bit of water, which I think is neat, although I've heard mixed opinions on exactly what that term means. If I'm mixing bullet bourbon, works really well, and my kind of like regular scotch that I drink, I don't know. I buy a lot of different scotches. It's one of the reasons why scotch is my favorite kind of whiskey, because it's such a deep not brand, but type. You know, you've got your Speyside, your Islay, your Highland. Like I've even had Japanese and Indian scotch. Indian scotch was interesting. It was kind of peppery.
Oh.
Me and Leon just we have literally no frame of reference. You could just be reading a Charles Manson manifesto. We wouldn't know.
Look. This is Johnny's moment to talk about something that we do not experience, since we spent 50 minutes of this episode on Batman v Superman.
We got a lot of questions about some of the controversies that happened this week in gaming. I just want to tie it all up in one thing here, because there was the Overwatch thing where they removed a boobs and butt pose and people got mad. There was a thing.
I don't care.
Yeah. Well, let me just get through.
Austin, you can absolutely do this, but I'm just letting you know I'm done talking about video games in public. But go right ahead.
Yeah, that's also very smart of you. They patched the jiggle physics out of Street Fighter, and Allison Rapp got fired from Nintendo. Also, I'm not super jazzed to talk about this. I've been having this conversation for the last 6 years. When I got into writing about video games, people were harassing Jennifer Hepler, and then it was Lee Alexander, and then it was Anita Sarkeesian, and then Zoe Quinn. Now it's Allison Rapp. It'll be someone else in a couple months, and then someone else after that. This industry is just hostile to women. It chews them up and ruins their lives. I don't know what to do about it. I mean, we can pick over the details, but I cannot make sense of any of this in any way that isn't maddening.
It is really fucking shitty if the number one actual thing that, the philosophy that you adhere to has gotten done in the world is getting a bunch of women fired. That's bullshit.
Mm-hmm. I know people hate this word, but I have the privilege to just not talk about it. They're never going to come after me and ruin my life. I can just look away, and that's something that I'm thankful for, but not everyone can, and I don't know what else to do about it. I just feel it feels futile, and I'm sorry. I can't put everyone at ease about that.
Yeah, I gaming to me, just as a culture, has just become so toxic that I just don't like talking about it anymore. I still play video games, but literally anytime I bring it up for one reason or another, it just goes badly.
We're punting this week, guys. Sorry.
Yeah. I mean, you know our social politics and general attitudes enough to know how we feel about this by now. It's
So that's that.
You want to do a not sad question to top us off? Or?
Sure. Jade asks, "How's Bozog doing these days? Should I go ask him? Should I get him?"
Yeah. Get Bozog out of the basement.
Okay, hold on. Hey, Bozog, come here.
He's getting Bozog. He's getting him right now.
Hey guys, how are you doing? It's me, Bozog.
Hey, Bozog.
It's me.
Oh my God!
How's your run for Congress going, Bozog?
Why did you chain me in the basement?
Bozog, I didn't put you anywhere. Where Austin decides to let you lodge is his responsibility.
I knew I was gonna have to take it to a dark place to get some humor out of this.
Yeah, nothing we say is okay. All right, anything you guys want to say right before we go?
Anime Noguchi, the chiptune band, just released a really fucking weird, trippy game that also contains their new album. It's super weird. Polygon did a video on it. You should watch it. It's been mind fucking me today.
Okay. Guys, ladies and gentlemen, if you actually want to watch good movies, I have some recommendations just based on things I have recently watched. Tree of Life, Terrence Malick film I watched recently.
Everyone hates that movie.
No. Have you seen it?
No, I've seen.
I did not like it.
Okay, that's fine. But personally, I had a very almost out of body experience while watching it, and it really touched me. So I would recommend it. It's certainly not for everyone, and that's fine. But I adored it. I also watched the 1996 adaptation of Hamlet. It is 4 hours long and starring Kenneth Branagh. He also directed it. It is quite good.
Words.
It's it's a pretty authoritative. I mean, I love the liberties he takes with the period that he sets it in. It just makes for a way more visually impressive, lavish production.
And when he throws the sword at the end.
Awesome.
Yeah, I mean, look, all the words are the right words, but some of the actions are different, and I think that's fair enough.
Although Tennant's Hamlet, I enjoy much better. Not the production, but his performance, David Tennant's Hamlet.
And his
I haven't seen that version, but I'll take your word for it that it's
also
good.
It's a lot more
faithful to
just all of Tennant, really.
It's a lot more like a stage production.
Okay.
And also Patrick Stewart as Claudius.
Yeah. Okay. Last movie I saw recently that I would highly recommend is The Forbidden Room. Just reached Blu-ray. This is actually a recent film, unlike the other things I mentioned. I have difficulty explaining what it's about, but you should see it anyway. It is the rare movie that I can watch, not get entirely, but still sort of be enthralled by it. It is the kind of movie I may want to watch again, which I normally do not do. But it's a beautiful picture. And that's it. Those are the things I want to say. Johnny, anything?
Whoa, guys! Real-time update.
Oh, what's up?
I still don't have an email from Oculus.
It's a shame.
I know. This has been my life for all of today, and will probably be for the next week or two.
Okay. Well.
Live your cheese, everybody.
It's been 102 episodes and we still don't have a sign off.
No, we tried that in the first few and it didn't work, so we refused to do so.
Find somebody to grab consensually, everybody.